In this video, I wanted to discuss audio syncing and the differences between the workflow for syncing audio in Adobe Premiere and in DaVinci Resolve. When I say audio syncing, I'm talking about taking a video recording that has a scratch track, that is the audio that was recorded at the time, that's attached to the video file, and replacing it with audio that was recorded separately on a dedicated audio recorder and with a better microphone. So in the case of an interview, like the one that's on screen now, the camera was a DSLR and it records audio, but the microphone is terrible on it. So the interviewee was wearing a lavalier microphone that was connected to a dedicated audio recorder. So we have clean audio and we need to attach it to that video. So I'm going to take this video clip and I'm going to create a new sequence from it. It's created a new sequence that has the file name. I'm going to change it and I'm just going to call it sync demo. Okay, and I want to add all of the other files for this interview. So just from one of the two cameras. So let's drag those in. So now I've got first, second, and third video file. A lot of DSLRs have time limits on video recordings, and as a result, that's why you end up with different files. But there are also reasons why you may end up with multiple files. Perhaps you need to pause for a moment, you don't want to shoot more than you need to, you want to conserve space. So a lot of interviews aren't one continuous video recording, although they may well be one continuous audio recording. So it looks like we have two clean audio recordings. Let's take a look. Yep. Okay, I'm going to move that aside for a moment. I'm also going to move these aside. Let's concentrate on this first clip in the sequence. So obviously the audio recording goes on for much longer than the video recording does. In order to sync these up, Premiere does have a feature where it will scan the audio track of the video and the audio track for this dedicated audio, and we'll attempt to match them up. Let's see how well it works. I'm going to drag a selection across the two, so I've got these two pieces of media selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say synchronize. I want to synchronize audio, so if audio here at the bottom isn't checked, check it, and I'm going to click OK. Depending upon the duration of the clips that you're selected, it may take a while to analyze them, and when it does that, it should move them. There you go, you can see it only had to move the audio just a little bit to get it in sync with this video. Just so that you can see this in a more extreme sense, I'm going to drag this to the end here, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I'm going to right click, I'm going to say synchronize. Audio is selected, I'm going to click OK. And what it's going to do is move one so that it aligns with the other. The bad thing about this is there's no real rhyme or reason as to which item it's going to move, whether it's going to move the video file or whether it's going to move the audio file. And if something happens to be in the sequence, in the way of it, it will overwrite it. So it can be really messy. Another problem is, if I were to, let's say, try and ask it to do all of these and synchronize them, because obviously there's some audio at the end here that corresponds to this clip here. If I was to ask it to synchronize all of them, can't do it. It's grayed out. It only works with two items selected. So we know that this and this are now in sync, and I can test that. I'm going to take a quick look. If I mute in fact, no, let's take a listen to the original audio recording. So the original one is...
but the mall has been slated for redevelopment since long before we moved in.
So I'm going to mute that. Let's listen to our clean sound now that should be in sync with the picture.
But what's happening now is that all of the tenants who had leases in the building that...
So just so we can hear those again, the bad audio.
We're essentially paying the overhead cost of keeping them
all open. All of their leases have expired and or they're closing their locations.
So obviously this is much, much better, and I want to continue this doing the other clips. So what I do if I want to synchronize multiple clips is I'm going to drag these to the beginning, and I'm going to shorten this video clip, not the audio clip rather, and I'm not going to move it. I'm just going to make sure that it aligns with the end of this. And then I'm going to move this to the very beginning. Then I'm going to move this other clip along, and I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to tell it to synchronize audio, OK. And you see now it's moved the audio track. So now if I play this,
organizations as opposed to a group of arts organizations,
it's no
where,
longer
again,
in sync with that first video track. But because I know that this beginning of the audio clip should be at the very, very end of the sequence, what I can do now is select these two and move it along. And now this should be still in sync.
Apartments at two
And this next clip should also be
lots of big retail spaces, and I think they're just filling
in sync with the clean audio. And it looks like this last clip aligns with this. Let's put that to the test. Let's synchronize. Okay, excellent. And now we've got that synced, and we can put it there. So that's just sort of a workaround for what I consider a problem with the program. As far as I'm concerned, you should be able to just select everything, right-click, synchronize. It should be a simple workflow like that, but unfortunately, this is how it's been now in this program for about 4 or 5 years. And there is a separate program that you can get that works in conjunction with Premiere called Pluralize, but that's like a $100 to $200 plugin, not something you should have to pay out for when you're typically paying for this program. So let's take a look in DaVinci Resolve and see how Resolve handles it. I'm going to go over to Resolve and I'm going to attempt to find the same clips. Right now I don't have anything in my media pool, so I'm going to go and find the clips and add them to my media pool. I'm going to make this a list and extend that so I can see it. So we take a look at this. The clip that I'm looking for is 1876. See, if I'd labeled these better, I wouldn't have this problem. 1876. So those are 3 clips, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to just drag those down into here. And I also want the corresponding audio. So what I'm looking for is on the 27th, store B. Let's interview. Store B, interview, and these are the 2 audio files. Just on here I have a separate audio recorder that was sort of an insurance audio backup. I don't want to include that. I just want it to sync with this. So let's take a look at this.
The floor is not, level if there's like a big dip in the middle of the room.
Okay, yep, that's terrible sound. Let's take a listen to this.
University, but there, I think it's there. We have a lot of
I would imagine. I'm assuming. Yeah.
for us, and then we have access to rehearsal.
Okay. So in the case of this, I know that 76 and 77 should go with this audio file, and the 77 goes with 63. What I'm going to do is I'll start off with this 77. So again, the
for a while in different places.
video sounds like that, terrible, and this cleaner sound sounds like this.
Serves, I think,
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to select 77 and 63, and I'm going to right-click, Auto Sync Audio, based on waveform. And now it still keeps the audio and the image as separate elements, but if I click on 77, the video now, it should be.
I think in St. Louis, this is the first place where there was really
Synchronized perfectly with our excellent audio. And if I take 76 here, and I try to pair it with this one, right click and auto audio sync based on waveform. And I'm going to do it again with 77 and 63, right click, auto audio sync based on waveform. And now if I click on 76 and I go here, it should
an older mall for St. Louis. And so they built these, new shiny mega complexes.
And if I try 77, apply this.
Where there were a lot of artists that went in. And
so now if I move over to edit and start working with these clips, I wouldn't have to worry about syncing, they're already synced.
So we have an office in a building there that is shared by a number of arts organizations. A lot of them are small.